head, slowing down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield.
Welcome everybody to the Gig Worker app roundtable Thursday night. Let me welcome my co-host Kim Sad Money Plans, and we have Chris. Hold on. Before Chris, we have Tim, Mr. Gigwise. If you guys know him, he's in the other corner. And then we are blessed to have two, not one Chris's, but two Chris's from Dlivrd. We have Chris Heffernan, who is the CEO and founder, as well as we have Chris Barnes, who is the app architect of the new app. And we're going to get into all that tonight. Welcome, chat. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, podcast listeners. And please type your comments in the chat if you have them. And accidentally, I think I timed out somebody else, but luckily we're dual streaming. If it was you, I don't know who it was. You can go over to the other stream, and we can go from there. Okay, so everybody in chat, please leave your comments. Kim and I will star them as we go. But I guess first thing first, I want to thank these guys so much for coming on. We've had them on before, but this is your chance to get your questions in. So I'm going to let me set the stage a little bit. So Tim Morris down there, Tim Gigwise, he has a cargo van. He has been doing Dlivrd for some time. He is an Emerald driver. And Kim has been doing many Dlivrds now. She's been knocking them out left, right. And she is starting to build her way up to Emerald, hopefully, or close. I, as you guys have followed on my lives, am starting to crank my numbers of Dlivrd up. And I'm starting to see a lot more. You guys are telling me on the lives. We're deciding together whether or not to take them. And we're going to get to all of this, but that gives you three different tiers of people, that are three different tiers here. And I guess, I'd like to just move into one thing first of all. So correct me, guys, if I'm wrong on the Dlivrd team, but here was my experience. Again, guys, my experience, my market from the new app launch, because I kind of had to I've been on the app for longer, but I had to get it all reset because I never really got it started. So it still shows my start date, but I've been kind of jamming it out since the new app. Now, here's my take so far. You guys can correct me. But in my market, the first 10 offers were harder to get, but not impossible, but they were all got off the open board. No problem. I was, that's just kind of approving yourself on the first 10. After 10, almost immediately, I started seeing more volume that was coming in at a certain time. And every day I'm getting, like Monday through Thursday, I'm seeing 2 to, 5 different offers a day and to accept or decline. And I want to know from you guys, first of all, does that sound about correct for drivers that are getting on the platform of what to expect?
Yeah, Steve, that's what really the first 10 orders are when you're getting the least amount of, you're tagged the least amount in our system. So the big difference with our system and other systems is it's not just sending orders because you're the closest driver, right? It's utilizing a rating system, and I wouldn't call it a rating system, a pairing system that's matching your skills, your vehicle, your bags, if you have a cart, how many orders you take in, things like that. And you need orders to develop a reliability, right? So the more orders that you take once you get over that 10 threshold, that opens you up to more orders. So everybody wants to come on the platform. Everybody wants that big order, wants that big payday. I get it. But we're not just going to hand you a $200 earning on a $2,000 order for your first time. That doesn't make business sense, right? So no, the getting to that 10 is crucial. That usually triggers you to get some bags. If you have some bags, let us know. But the more the better.
Well, and I'm going to get to the bags. We'll get to the bags thing too later because I have questions on that as well. But I do want to know, so like, am I not going to see many more open boards now that I'm getting the influx of orders?
No, open boards will still be there. We've made some new logic to put orders out there because, we heard from the drivers and it's every time we go to the open board, nothing is there. And because, we don't want to, fish with a net, we don't want to just throw orders out there and drivers claim them. We want to match them with the appropriate driver. We're trying that. So the orders that are on the open board match your requirements as well. It's just bypassing the one by one ordering. So we made some changes to allow more orders on the open order board. So that's a great place to find orders that you like. You don't have to go there. You don't have to accept orders you don't like, but the open board is a great resource, and we're working every day to make that better.
Now, I have a follow-up question to that. I'm the opposite. I never see orders on the open board, like maybe once, maybe twice a week. There might be something there. I get all the orders actually to me. So does that mean like my area might be like a slower market and the orders just might not have an overflux into the open opportunity board?
Yeah, Kim, that could be right. We have some systems in place that put them on the open order board after they've been offered, and it varies by market. So I was in a conversation with a driver in the Las Vegas metro, and they're like, I'm really slow. I don't get a lot of orders, but Las Vegas is a very busy metro. That just means that the Emerald drivers there are snatching, they're getting first offer at them. They're taking those orders. The drivers that pair better are getting those orders. I saw a comment in the app or in the chat here. It was, ever since the new app, I'm getting less orders. We had our busiest day ever yesterday, our busiest week the week before that, the second busiest week the week before that. So it's not slower because of the app. It's just making better decisions. It's offering drivers or orders to the right people, and we're really humming through. So that's why we're always working on optimizing, getting the orders in the app of the right drivers. And you might see in a smaller market less orders in, like a Savannah, Georgia versus Boston or in New York.
So above, the Carnifage is in Vegas, and he had said that since the new app had came out, he had seen the less delivered orders. But he has seen orders from other catering apps. But again, here's his comment down a little bit below that, and I think it goes to what you just said about Vegas, even specifically.
Yeah, and when you look at drivers that have been on the platform the longest, and Vegas is a great example of it, we have a great retention rate in a market like Las Vegas, in a market like Reno, Nevada as well, or Denver, Colorado. We have a solid retention rate. So I know we get a lot of questions. I already see them there, about Waitlist. And yeah, there's people on the waitlist because we have such a high retention rate. And these drivers that have been on the platform longer have taken more orders, have that better reliability, have the more tags, the more equipment. They're getting those offers first. So it's not that orders don't exist. We want to give orders to as many people as possible. We don't make money unless we deliver orders through our drivers on the platform. But sometimes if you're in a smaller market or it's a very reliable market, it's harder to get them.
So speaking of retention, because I get the question about waitlists all the time, and obviously I don't have those answers, but I would assume, like, I don't know your retention rate. Maybe you can shed some light on that. But higher retention rate means like you're keeping drivers, opposed to, we won't talk about other food delivery apps, but other food delivery apps, drivers come and go like you change your socks every day. So I'm assuming that's why a wait list exists, because you don't want to overflood a market and you still want to give people quality orders. Am I correct?
Yeah, the wait list really came from when Lyft was battling Uber and Lyft oversaturated the markets. Drivers were making more money on Lyft than Uber on the rideshare side, but wait times were up for the passengers. So they just loaded their markets up, spent a ton of money recruiting drivers, and it dissatisfied the drivers. So the drivers stopped driving on Lyft. And then guess what? Now you had less supply, still had that wait for the consumers, and now you're paying drivers more incentive to take other rides. So it was a horrible move. So that's why we have that wait list. And I mean, Barnes watches that wait list like a hawk. And when we're looking at predictions, he'll turn more on, he'll turn some off. But I think there might even be more people on the wait list than active drivers on the platform.
Yeah, for sure. I took over the wait list pretty much all of 2024. I'm very stingy. So
You
for
just
the
put a
majority,
target on your back, by the way, Chris.
oh, hey, but no, but I think I almost thought of what I'm going to say. There is a knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people to say, "Oh my God, we had a bad day of service in this market. Let's onboard 10 drivers," and that actually hurts everybody. And so you have to be brave enough to kind of not have that knee-jerk reaction. Chris can attest. I think the majority of the year, 80 to 85% of our markets at any time were on the wait list. I've heard people say before that we're oversaturated or other ones are oversaturated. We gain nothing from being oversaturated. That causes trend. That causes people to leave. That causes us to have to spend a lot in retention. So we really, we had a stat earlier, Chris, at our last Together week, where we were X% busier this year, but with 30 to 40% less total drivers. And I was so proud of that. The only thing I would say is going into September, like this is the busiest time of the year. We definitely onboarded a good chunk of drivers over the last 30 days. And I would say that was the most aggressive I've been all year. But also I think for good reason. I mean, we're coming into the season and now we've hit our quotas and we put a lot back onto the wait list.
Yeah. And I'm in agreement with you guys. I mean, I told you guys this years ago when I was talking about Curry. You guys were telling me, and now that wait list is out of control, but it's a good thing because Curry is still a doable thing. So don't you want Dlivrd to be a doable thing in a year or 2 years? I mean, any of the apps that get out of control with not having a wait list instantly just become another app that follows the app trajectory. Honeymoon period, less offers for the drivers.
Yes, and you hate it when you're on it, but you love it once you're off it. Like everybody, I don't want to say that people complain about the wait list, but like everybody who always asks about it, like wait, just like wait, it sucks, I know, but once you're in, you're gonna love it because that's gonna afford you the availability to get those orders. So every feature we make, every policy that we enact, or every change, really, for every 100 people that love it, 10 people hate it. So it's it's just a game of averages for us.
Did you guys ever think about, I don't even know if any company's ever done this, about either sending out an email when somebody's getting closer on the wait list or letting them even see their placement somehow, or is that even a thing? Or
it should be, honestly, Steve, it should be. But getting this app off the ground has taken, I mean, I don't want to speak for Barnes, but like, I don't know if he's left that office that he's in very often as we're just trying to get this thing going. And I think you can see it in some of the changes and enhancements. Hopefully people are really liking it. But no, we should do a better job at communicating people with letting them know. As much as we preach transparency, our wait list is not transparent, and it should be something.
Well, but I mean,
we know you're here.
How do you have a transparent wait list?
It's hard, but I think just letting
somebody might see how far back they are and might take that the wrong way too. Like 326, maybe it moves quicker than they think. Maybe it's slower.
Right.
It might be.
And I would never want to tell somebody like you should be off by November 15th, but then come November 15th, we can't get them off. So it is something we want to figure out for sure, and like not be specific with it to let people down, but let them know that they are important to us, and we are thinking of them, and they're not just like lost on some Excel sheet somewhere.
Okay, so that kind of relates to, we have Miko here asking the question. She's in Orlando. She's been on it longer than 6 months. And I think we already just now answered that. The time length, 6 months, really has no bearing. It's just the market. Like
the market. And Orlando's, I'm in Fort Lauderdale here. Orlando's a market I know well. For whatever reason, there are so many applicants in Orlando. So it's just one of these where there's markets like that, where unfortunately there's like so many people in very limited spots. And obviously, there's markets that's the opposite of it. But yeah, to your point, Steve, it's not necessarily a time frame. Unfortunately, there could be some markets you're on the wait list for a day. Other ones, it could be more of a year. It's really more how many drivers do we need in that market and how many are active right now.
So that another thing, while we're here, I do want to ask you something for people, especially people coming up. I think people start to get a groove with it, but the importance of when an offer comes in. Because you guys, this is not a round robin system. When these offers come in, they are coming to, unless not open board. When an offer comes to is sent to you, you are given 5 minutes. If you're on the road, you're driving, you just can't get to it. You know it's going to time out after 5 minutes. What is again, it's an open-ended question, but I know that I always get in there and I decline it or accept it right away as fast as I can. But if I'm on the road or something, what is the damage I'm doing to my account or my standing or my offers I might receive by not getting to that in the 5 minutes?
I mean, things happen, right? So it's a law of averages. So, and that's another important fact on those first 10 orders. It's probably more important to make sure that you're responding when you're new on the platform, to show that the more orders you have, the more grace you get with different things. So, if there's traffic and you're late to your pickup, not the end of the world. If there's traffic and you're late to every pickup, problem. And then same thing with response. If you miss a few here and there, we get it. Like, we're not monsters. I miss text messages. My mom texts me all the time. I never answer it. So, the same thing when we send that job offer out, like there might be a time that you miss it and it's cool, but an exception is better than the normal.
Yeah. On that too, once you are accepted, well, I guess we'll get into the location part of the app here in a minute, but I want to see where we're at with questions too. So Ellen in Las Vegas as well. How can I adjust my location to be more specific in my area? That was a question I had down here, the delivery location, which is selecting the delivery area. You can change it in the driver portal, and you can actually even make it bigger. There's a way to like
it's under driver location.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, that was
you use this much.
I don't know, to me, this was like when the driver portal did the whole map and I could zero in on an area. Like, to me, that was a game changer in how I work the Dlivrd app. And I think I gave Chris the example a couple weeks ago that, I was getting orders in like South Jersey with shore traffic. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. And then I changed it. And now, like, watch out, guys, I'm coming to Emerald because I've been taking every single order, and it's just the way that it's happened. So it was a game changer for how I work the app and how many orders I take.
Yeah,
so you expanded it a good amount, because just what it comes by default, at least for me, in my market, was pretty big.
In some areas I expanded, in other areas I did not, because I didn't want to get stuck in the trafficy areas during the summertime that I couldn't get to quickly. So it just depends for me, like the times of the year and a whole bunch of traffic issues in New Jersey. But it was definitely a game changer of me accepting almost every order that comes to my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So just to speak to that really quick, in the driver portal, there's a delivery location area. You can draw on the map the areas that you want orders. The general idea is that if you don't take orders on the north side of town, we're wasting time sending you orders on the north side of town. So we want to be more efficient. But I just want to say also thank you, Kim and Steve, so far in the compliments. But I think the funny thing for Chris and I is we're proud of the delivery location, but there's still so much more we want to do with that feature. We're proud of the new app, but there's so much more we can't wait to do. We're proud of the waitlist, but there's so much more we can do better. And I think that's one great thing about us. I don't think that we have it all figured out. We have great ideas, but we know that there's still so much more to do, and there's so much more that we can't wait to do to help our drivers.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things to do with the app, can I just say one suggestion is before when you arrived somewhere, like you're at your restaurant, it would actually automatically do it for you that you arrived at the restaurant. And it throws me for a loop now, almost every single time, because I forget that I have it says that you're there, but you have to swipe too. And I always forget to swipe. So I'm so used to it automatically saying we're there, but now we have to say that we're there and we have to swipe. So I feel like it's doing double things at the same time.
Yeah, and that wasn't necessarily our intention going into it. But again, the one thing about our app, and I'm so proud of it, but it really is still a baby, right? I mean, it is still in its most infant form, and we're going to be investing in it and growing in it. And just frankly, the GPS component is very difficult, because even though what you're saying is awesome, but if it gets it wrong and suddenly you're not at the location and it says that you're there, or kind of the negative side of that GPS jumping, there's a real ugly side to it. So Kim, we definitely agree with you, and really kind of having some robust automations based on GPS. There's a lot more we want to do, but I think you're going to see us layer that in after we kind of get the app on its legs a bit more, in terms of its kind of core functionality.
There is a question from Thomas. Does my cart size affect orders? Can I become Emerald without having a big auto?
So a couple different like questions in that. Yes, you absolutely can become Emerald even without a big auto. Being an Emerald gives you access to orders like faster, but it doesn't mean that you're eligible for every order. So I mean, if you're an Emerald because you grinded away forever, but you only have 2 hot bags and you're in a tiny car, you're going to get offers before others, but they're still going to be the offers that you are eligible for. So certainly you can still become eligible kind of regardless of your settings. But on the opposite end, if you have a large vehicle, you may actually be eligible for some orders that some Emeralds aren't. So, there's kind of like 2 different things like in play there.
So I have a follow up on that, and then I want to ask Tim a question. So Tim, get ready. But I want to follow up on that with in the portal, in the vehicle and bag, you go through there, and obviously you guys already know our vehicles. We've already input it before we even got on the app. But it does have in there where you set your vehicle. You're going to say, do you have catering bags? Do you have a cart? And then it'll ask for pictures. And here's so this is an important question. Does a new person on the app get in there and say, yes, I have catering bags. No, I don't have a cart. Take a picture of the 3 they have as they're growing, or should they wait until they have 10 and a cart and leave it? Can you change it and modify it after you first upload? And do you guys want an upload of a small amount, even if it's just the honest amount?
Yes. So first off, yeah, we want as many updates as possible. Every time that you make an adjustment in there, it creates a ticket, if you will, for somebody to review it and make any adjustments. So I would say never hold back. Always be honest, but always upload what you have. You can definitely change it at any time. And for new drivers, there are some restrictions. If you put in 10 bags and you're a brand new driver, you're not jumping ahead of people. I mean, there's still some
right. You just have 10 bags and you're coming out. You might have been working another app. I'm talking about more for like the DoorDash large order catering people who maybe only had 2-3 bags and that died off a long time ago, and they're finding their way to Dlivrd now, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Let's pull those bags back out. Should they take that picture, even though once they start getting some momentum with Dlivrd, that they now are going to up to 10 bags and a cart?
Yeah, no, I would say do it. Because again, you can change it at any time. And my gosh, you'll drive me crazy. But you can upload a picture when you have 2 bags, and then 3 bags, and then 4 bags, and little by little, that will improve your profile.
Okay, so again, I think this is just kind of an obvious to everybody: is fill out as much as you can on the driver portal.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is from Bubba Sue. Since the new app, my payments are delayed. Is this an issue with the app?
I'm a really transparent guy. I could go on and on about like potential issues we've had, but this is not one of them. And the part where like I'd like please reach out to drive@Dlivrd, whoever asked that question, because we certainly want to help you. The app itself is kind of independent than the payment system. The payment, like the orders end up complete and then it goes off for payment. I've not heard that feedback yet. We would go nuts if that was going on, but obviously it's happened to at least one person. So please reach out to us so we can look into that.
Yeah, I could only imagine the chat if that was happening to all the drivers right now. That would just be every thread. But yeah, if they email drive@dlivrd.io, that'll get into the team's end. It can get to the tech, and we want to make sure everybody's getting paid the right speed. That's why we're gig workers, and that's why we don't work at a traditional place, so we can get the money when we want the money.
Which brings
Bubba Sue, do you? Hang on, I wanted to address that. Bubba Sue, do you mean delayed by later in the day or the next day? Because
Monday was a holiday, so if it was missed your Monday payment, that's everybody. Right. The banks were closed.
Now, I think she's been talking about this for a while, so I don't think it had to do anything with the holiday, at least, from what I know. I think it was
maybe it's an every issue too. I don't know.
I usually get the every email about 8:39 in the morning. Then pay usually goes in. I don't know. I don't pay attention, but about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, something like that. Which
we love to figure it out if it's a real problem.
Yeah, that's again. Like Bubba Sue's in my live when I'm doing Dlivrds and stuff, and so I didn't even know that was an issue with her, but I have not heard it from other people. So, but but she's always in there. So if she's saying it must be happening.
She said it's not in her bank
Oh.
until the next day.
Well, then email drive@dlivrd.io.
Yeah, and we would probably have to fold in every, because, you know, again, I it's always the worst when somebody says, well, it's only happening to you, but like that's not like an issue that we're aware of. But we would definitely want to fold in every, because it could be some combination of them with the bank.
So Tim, you are an emerald. You are a cream of the crop picking the orders. You have a cargo van, and you're
I wish I
doing
got
pretty
all the
well
good
picking the
ones.
ones you want. You've been doing this for a while. Give me 2 positives and a negative about Dlivrd.
Chris is like, watch what you say.
2 positives and negative. You could have warned me about this. I don't know. I like the company, I like the people. Negative.
We'll
I'd
start
like to
with the
get 3 to 4
positives.
orders a day. I mean, I'd like to get more orders every day of the week, basically.
That's
the only negative I really have. Can you hear me?
Man, if that's a negative, that's weak.
I'd like more orders. That's my only negative, but that's with anything.
So two positives about being emerald as compared to, and don't brag too much, because I'm not, Kim's not, most people aren't.
Well, you don't have to think, when is an order going to come, when they're going to send me an order throughout the day. They usually come to me right about 12:02 every day, 12:01 to 12:05, but usually about 12:02, 12:03. So I know that I need to be, well, it's the old app where it went off your phone location. I made sure I was tried to be in an area where it was going to be by the restaurant. So I would hopefully get the best orders for those restaurants. And with the new app, or the old app being severed with the new driver location, that's not as important. That's one bonus, is, when you're going to get offers for the next day, to be pulled over and not driving down the highway. As an emerald, just getting good orders, really. And
I mean, is the difference that, because you still had the big vehicle, you had the ability to take the big one. So before you were emerald, is the difference that much?
Right. Well, I mean, I've always had a big vehicle. I still have the truck. Now I got the van. So I've always had large capacity, but I was lower on the totem pole. It's just getting up the totem pole.
Right. But when that flip happened, is it that much different for you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because before, the order size is just bigger. It's the earnings is higher. I can't always say the size of the order.
As the order gets bigger, the work is more, though, too.
Yeah,
so
that's okay. If you're geared up properly, even big orders are easy to do.
Yeah,
and I want to. Sorry. I want to interject one thing on like the emerald thing. Like emerald, like Barnes had said a little bit earlier, emerald doesn't necessarily equal bigger orders, higher earning orders, right? Like if you're an emerald driver with a Kia that has 2 doors, you're not going to, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the bigger orders, right? And then the other piece too, if you're an emerald driver, you get access to morning orders and evening orders outside of the lunch rush, and they could be the min payment. They could be the $20. And it's not like we're sending orders to emerald drivers and it's like, oh, this is so low. Like, no, we don't promise the bigger, better orders. You just get first crack at the orders. And if you're tagged correctly, you get them. But yeah, I mean, I would think that as a gig worker, if I'm not doing anything else at 8:30 in the morning and a $20 to $25 breakfast order, and then I take that bigger lunch order, like, why not? I'm not losing a bigger paying order for that morning one. So one bad nomenclature out there is that I'm emerald, I should only get good or big orders. No, that's not the case. You're just getting priority at orders in the area that you specified. And, hopefully it's better for you.
Because I mean, if all the emeralds were to turn it down, it still trickles down to the other drivers. It's not like you go, oh, none of the emeralds took it, just get rid of that order. Like you still got to get it taken out.
You can trust me, even being an emerald, Frederick still sends me a good share of the smaller earning orders by far.
Yeah.
If they're close and if they work with my schedule, or what I've already got going on, I take them, no problem. For tomorrow, he sent me one for $30. It was gonna shoot, probably be over an hour and a half drive time to do that order at 5:35 in the morning. And I'm like, no, no, it takes a little more for me to get up that basically 2:30 in the morning to go do an order at 5:30.
So,
but that's just happening. Pass it on to somebody else.
Before Kim jumps in on a question here, I do want to know about this. So the preferred availability. Again, guys, these are all things in the driver portal. In the new app, you should, if you're not on the app yet, it's Dlivrd.io. If you are on the app already, have your driver portal set up. But I do have a question. In the preferred availability, I have mine completely open to weekends, open to evenings, everything. If I leave town for a week, so this is kind of a two-parter. Can I switch to the town I'm going to? Let's say I'm even going there a month. Or if I'm just going somewhere for a week to visit family or whatever, is it smart and can I somehow turn off any data being sent to me and then turn it back on when I get back, so that therefore you're not even wasting the data being sent to me and the 5 minutes on each order?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the preferred availability in the driver portal. So we'd already talked about the preferred location. Now this is more of like the calendar version of that.
Right.
And absolutely, that is a great tool for your I'm going out of town, leave me alone for a week. You could absolutely clear out that calendar and then come back, and if it was cleared out, no new orders would be sent to you. Maybe if you already had one for tomorrow, that's fine. It wouldn't take any orders away, but that would stop new orders from being sent to you. You can come back and add the calendar back in. You could always contact us too, but honestly, I love that idea of you using that calendar. That totally would work. There's also another section of the driver portal called My Information, and there is a section there that you can change your market. Now, so that's I live in Miami and I'm going to Denver. You would be able to make that change. You would be eligible in Denver. Now, one thing that, again, I got to giggle, like Chris and I, we just got out of a meeting where we talked about everything we want to do basically in the next 2 years. So it's like, we still want to fix everything. I would love it that like you just drove to Denver and the system knew it, and you drove to Miami and it knew it, and it all followed you. I think, we still are trying to improve things, but yes, the driver portal, you have those options right there.
And you can do it as often as, like, let's say you spend 2 weeks back and forth between two states.
Absolutely.
You can switch it every 2 weeks. There's no harm, no foul. Is it favorable to take that time off then if you're going to be gone? I mean, I would think for you guys it's great. So, but does it help the driver?
Well, certainly it would. If you were gone, most likely you would be declining orders that are coming to you. Let's say
Right.
There's no penalty in that, so it's not. From a profile perspective, I think you're basically the same, but from a respect perspective, efficiency perspective, it's certainly better for everybody to not be wasting everyone's time if you're not available.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if Frederick or your AI or whatever looks upon that favorably and says, "Oh, I like that he did that. I like that he turned it off because he's going on vacation, so we don't have to send data and let it sit in his phone potentially for 5 minutes at a time."
And there's definitely, Chris, like a lot of this is what we're building toward. Again, I keep almost repeating myself, but our auto assigner, I love it, but there's still a lot more we want to do. And there's a lot, we talked before about live location and different things, but ultimately an auto assigner is at its best, that the drivers that perform the best on the platform, have the best access to it. And we definitely are building toward really leveraging items like that in terms of, not letting orders time out and doing those things in the app to really set everybody up for success.
Yeah. I wanted to put up Gig in here and say that he's in Minneapolis. Is there a point where having your area is set too wide? I have mine set to 3/4 of Minneapolis metro and rarely receive orders besides foods by.
I'd say it's dealer's choice. If you are somebody who arguably would take an order anywhere in your market, then yeah, you could keep it wide. But if you really know, hey, I'm never going to accept orders in this area, it definitely is better for you to keep it smaller. And some markets are way bigger than others too. So I think there's a geography component. But is there a point for having the area set wide? If you want orders wide, then that would be the point of it.
And I would say that to that also that Gigan, if you're not if you're not getting as many orders, then expand the zone. You can still decline them, but you might want to see them. I don't know. It's not like a DoorDash order. Like you're not going across town to do a $2 no tip. You know, you're going to see it, and this is a rough one because I think I know. It's you're getting a little bit of time out here if you need to do this.
And that depends. That depends, Tim. Like if you give ample notice, if you accept the order at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and the order's at 11 and before 7 a.m., you're telling us that you can't go, it's fine. It's really when it's under that 2 hour notice, like 4 hours and less is when we start to evaluate, like it starts to impact the driver and their availability to get more orders. Really the crunch time is when we send that confirmation text and the answer is no or no answer at all. And then it's insert generic reason here, right? And we get it, things happen, but at the end of the day, we have customers, those customers have customers. And think about how many orders you're able to just take last minute within the hour that could be across town. And that's how hard it is to get that order placed. So the more notice, the better is definitely the answer for for that. And we do have some cool stuff coming because the app is a lot better now, and you'll see some new enhancements on how to handle your confirmations and how to handle requests to send orders back and stuff coming in soon versions.
Quick thing on that. I would just opinion. I don't know. Obviously, they get taken quickly, but if one does get rejected and it's sent out or it's put into the open board, on the open board, you guys might want to just at least look into putting a little badge. What is it? A badge avatar or whatever that would say 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Kind of like on top of the app showing that there's 2 open boards in there right now.
Oh, so it's just right there. Yeah.
Oh, like a little like your email app says how many unread emails are there, something like that.
Yeah.
Not
I mean, it would tell somebody like Kim who says there's never an open board. It would let her know when there is, and it would let her know, oh wait, that might have just been a dropped one too.
And you could see things coming too, like not committing to it or like that. It's been an idea, but with the full control over what we have of this new app, you can see a push notification, like an orders hit the open board that you qualify for. So, there's so many things that we can do. Like Barnes said, this app is a baby. It's in its infancy. And we had drivers like Tim, who's been using the new app for months before, it was rolled out to the other, like the rest of the fleet. And 30 other people that were out there using the app too. And a lot of the feedback we garnished from that is what molded the app that everybody has. And the same thing, a lot of the feedback that we're getting from drivers who are onboarding onto it is going to make what the V2, the V3, and the V4 is. Because like, I think I know what works in the app. Barnes thinks he knows what works in the app. But like, for example, the 3 of you arguably know a little bit better than the 2 of us because you use it every day. So I'm not saying that every idea is a good idea and that Barnes is going to answer your email personally if you send a suggestion, or like it's definitely going to make it into the new app. But what makes sense is good. I mean, I had one other idea on this call and I put a note down. I took a note on the notification icon that you had just brought up. So, there's always ways to make it better, and we're always open to those.
So I actually have a question. I actually semi-know this, but I wanted to get your take on it. So the other day, waited at a restaurant because they didn't even know they had a catering order and had to wait 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. And I got compensated, which is fantastic. You're one of the very rare companies that do that. But on the opposite end, I'm on my way to a restaurant half-hour away and just started my drive, and I get a notification that they pushed my order back another half hour. So I'm not going to turn around and go back. Like, I'm still heading towards the restaurant. But I actually didn't know this until I called support. I said, hey, I know I get compensated for wait times, but do I get compensated if a restaurant pushes back? Because I'm technically still waiting. And they said, no. And the reason why I asked this is because now it's delaying me from, my later time, because I go right into food delivery and Instacart after lunch. So now I'm even delayed a half hour that way from making money. So I don't know whether I know a lot of this stuff comes right out of your pockets and bottom lines. It's a disconnect from a driver's perspective when like that happens. And I know it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's a very fringe scenario because typically and I think like maybe they're like the restaurant knows they're going to get charged for wait time, or they're trying to scam, or they think they're doing like a better service than they're actually doing. So, I mean, if you remember or can find that order ID, if you send it to me, if you email me that, I would totally dig into that. And in a fringe scenario like that, I mean, me personally, I think like you should have been compensated from the wait time that it was originally done. We shouldn't be letting restaurants update their time. Some integration partners, they can just do it. Other ones, we don't let them do it. So, there's so many things that it could have been, but you're right, Kim. Like a lot of times, like mileage, like for the longest time, we paid extra for deliveries over 10 miles, but customers didn't pay us until it was over 15 miles. It came out of our pocket, but it was the right thing to do. Some clients that we deliver for are like our original contracts. When I sold them, when I was the only salesperson, I didn't sell wait time, but I don't want to tell a driver like you get wait time at customer 1, but not wait time at customer 2. No, we just pay it and we just eat that. If an order has too low of what we find is like an earning threshold, like we'll put some money behind it again out of our pocket because it all works out in the end for us, quantity of orders, and it's better for the drivers. But I'd love to look into that for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, and not funny thing, but the thing is when the great thing about Dlivrd is you plan out your day, right? The day before exactly, I know I'm going to do either an Instacart or I'm going to do food delivery before I do a Dlivrd, and then I'm going to do a Dlivrd, and then I'm going to go back to doing Instacart food delivery in order to like piece my day together. So when something kind of goes out of whack, it throws off the rest of the day out of whack from making the money that I need to make as a driver.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we love being that like core part of a gig worker's day, right? Like I don't sit here and guarantee that you can make enough money on this platform daily to, pay all your bills or do whatever with it. But we do want to offer those high quality earnings and be the concrete of the day and do exactly that. Some food delivery in the morning, or maybe some Rideshare, some caterings at lunch on our platform, and then pop over and do Instacart or other apps. Like, because that's the beauty of the gig world.
Yeah. And again, I know we've talked about this every time I've had Chris on and whatnot, but again, if you guys are not real familiar with Dlivrd, 100% transparent to you guys. And that's something is almost a must with me. But so Ellen in Vegas is saying, do the $20 orders mean the customer didn't tip?
Yes and no, right? It means that they could have tipped and they could have tipped the $10. But our API and most of our clients now have minimum tip language in their contracts. And the customer could have tipped $5 on that order and the system brought it to 10, or they could have tipped 10, or they could have tipped 0. There's really no way to tell. We had toyed around with in the past showing that, but then it just seems too, like, I don't know, like too braggy from us. Like, oh, well, the customer didn't do it, so we did it for you. Oh, we're so great. And it would also, I think, could lead to like a poor customer experience. Like, well, you didn't even tip me as you're setting up the order or something. So there's no way to really know. But
so I'm looking at Ceci's comments here. She's in New York. I believe Queens. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ceci.
Bronx.
Or not Queens. Yeah, Bronx. Sorry. So she's saying that how do I cancel an order? We already brought that up a little bit, but then she's saying here, I just did my first Dlivrd today. Awesome. And it was canceled, but I still got paid. Okay. So that's cool. But then I was going down to, okay. And now she has 2 for tomorrow. So I'm a little confused on the first part about the canceling that. If I go back to this one, because I think like we went through, that can be a slap. But I think now I'm wondering if you had it canceled on you.
yeah, I mean, with notice, you can cancel, like I said, over 4 hours, and then we do pay if the restaurant cancels the order under 1 hour to pickup time. We call it like a pickup attempt, so you get paid a fee to because you would block that time to do that order. And then if you get to a restaurant and the order cancels, like because they're like, I didn't get it, I can't prepare it, the restaurant's closed, whatever outside of your control is as the driver, you get paid for that order. So, and those don't go against your ratings because we still view them as a completed order. In our system, it shows that the pickup is canceled, but the delivery is successful to still allow payment and to still keep those metrics on the driver's account.
Yeah. So Chris Taylor is in Mesa, Arizona. Chris, I don't know why you're not on Dlivrd yet. I mean, really, like, you're always in our lives. You're definitely a hard gig worker. We know that. You should absolutely be on the Dlivrd app. He's talking about restaurants that he services, though, are shocked that he has so many bags, catering bags. You guys are, I'm guessing, are in Mesa. Mesa's a big enough area.
Yeah, it's a sub of Phoenix for us. Like Phoenix is really like 5 little mini markets, like each area, like around it. But
I'm guessing
yeah, no,
you have
I mean,
decent business in Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is a top market. I'd argue. I don't know, Barnes top 10, top 15, something like that. You know, it's in
Wow.
there.
Top 10 for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, when I do my deliveries, because Barnes has to go out and do deliveries, I have to do deliveries. Anybody that works for the company has to do deliveries. So we use the app, right? We see the troubles. We wait for orders when they're not received, and the restaurant never got them. And when we roll in the bags, I see the same thing Chris is talking about. They're like, you actually have bags, you know? So I feel good about that. I mean, I feel good that we equip drivers and have that, and I'm good for Chris for having all those bags. He should get on the wait list now because who knows how long he can be on there. Or maybe he is already. I don't know.
So this is a good question too. Gator he doesn't like the trash apps. He does a lot of B2B stuff like I do. So he has a pickup truck. I think he has extended cab. I think it's a Silverado half ton. He could do Dlivrd, right?
100%. Yeah. It's just going to tag you out. Like he wouldn't get a $2,000 order because a customer doesn't want to see you rolling up in the pickup truck. And no matter how clean that bed is, they don't want to see their food coming out of it. And,
right.
You know, if you're in Florida, there's no knowing if it's going to rain here. Like, so it could just rain. So, you know, nobody wants wet and soggy food coming into their office either. But it's got this arguably the same amount of room as like a
good though.
Oh yeah. Probably anything under $400 could still go in a truck. There's plenty of people with trucks on the system. Just no bikes. Just don't have a bicycle.
Yeah, I have an extended cab F-150, and I can fit quite a bit between the back seat and the front seat. But I've also got a camper shell in the back, so I can. It's basically a cargo van.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't have a dog in the pickup truck. You know, country songs always have dogs in pickup trucks, but deliveries, dogs are not good for the pickup truck.
I don't even know.
Bud Soda used to live in upstate New York, and he's now in Pittsburgh. And I'm glad you're seeing more orders. Obviously, changing markets made a big difference. Of course, it did. You know, the smaller the town, the no offense to the smaller rural markets, but probably the less orders. I'm just. But again, you might own your market if you get out in the rural town. You might be the Dlivrd guy. You might be able to help sell it too. Like if you're doing other apps, you know.
Unfortunately, most lunch orders always overlap. So,
yeah. So here's Ron. Go gig it. He's in Massachusetts. Massachusetts has 3 areas to sign up. So if I choose one, and it had a wait list, can I choose another? And which is kind of a common New England question. I'll let Chris Barnes field this one if he wants. What do you think? Should he sign up for another city? Because I know when he does rideshare and other apps, he can service 6 states in a day.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends like which markets that we're talking about here. I mean, if they're adjacent and like you really are truly going to work the other one, then we can certainly switch that up for you. In general, once you are onboarded in a market, you are in that market for your first 5 orders, because we do that to kind of like have some kind of barrier where you're not just coming in and then moving over to another market, because we do have to be pretty mindful of that. And but certainly looking at Boston off the top of my head, there's probably Worcester and Lawrence like right next to it, and there's certainly some people who I think like in some cases somebody might choose Boston because that's the big city by default. But if they actually live closer to Lawrence, then we certainly can make some exceptions. So I'd say reach out to Drive At, and we can look at where you're at. Again, I'm in Fort Lauderdale here, but I'm very close to Miami. So like there's definitely situations like that where it really could make sense.
Yeah. So I'm going down here. I thought I saw something I wanted to hit on there was, oh, I know a question I had for you guys. I am seeing $44 offers with $20 pay to me. Is Easy Cater literally going, which I love if they are, I love it. Are they going for the literal just dinner delivery now? Are they going after that market? Because when I see $44, $45 offers, that's just dinner for two people, guys.
Yeah, they're trying different
Oh, you're
things.
talking.
Really,
You're talking food total.
yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily say you see historically that restaurants on Easy Cater target like food minimum. So like it's not really Easy Cater that is saying we want these lower subtotals or higher subtotals. Each restaurant sets what their minimum subtotal threshold is, and it could be $100, it could be $500, it could be $600. But a lot of restaurants are obviously looking to get orders into their kitchen and into their money into their register. So, they're lowering those orders. But the plus side there is if you deliver $44 at a minimum tip threshold of, $20 earning, or you deliver $150, it's still minimum $20 earning. So, hey, one bag of food, take it,
I guess let's put this up. I'm not really sure if this even applies. Account blocked, inactive, or inactivated without a response. And here's one thing I got to say. I got to question this a bit because I've worked not only directly with the team, but like they are very responsive. The bots are responsive. The people are responsive. You can get people on the phone. This isn't the normal app. So I just just off the top of my head, I'm thinking there might be more to that.
So it's funny. I saw that comment and I was looking up Darren's account too. And Darren, I want to apologize. You did reach out say a week ago with no response yet. So first off, like that's true. Chris, to call it out, Darren's in Norfolk, Virginia. That's a market that I don't want to get too deep into it, but we've had some issues with Easy Cater that really affected volume. So Darren, I'll tell you, looking at your account, you were frozen for inactivity. And unfortunately, really outside your control, we just really have stopped getting markets in that area. It's a very unique situation. I'm going to reach back out to you. I'm looking at your account now. So first off, again, Steve, I appreciate you kind of like giving me a little wiggle room, but for sure, Darren reached out 7 days ago with no response, including more today. But Darren, yours is a very unique situation where I'd say, and to some degree, you're a bit of a victim of circumstance. But I'll reach out to you.
So emails don't go out when something like that happens to a market, just to say to the drivers who have been active, like, hey guys, it might slow down a little bit here. I mean, I guess you don't want to be negative, but
yeah,
think of it.
Norfolk was a very unique situation.
Okay. Yeah. So he's saying thanks and gotcha. And all right.
Yeah. And Darren, for what it's worth, I swear your profile was on my screen like before Steve threw your question up.
Yeah. So I guess the one other thing I had to create an LLC. Who is this targeted for? And because this is something that's big with me, Chris Heffernan, you know this. I'm all about independent contractorship. I'm all about knowing your rights, and you guys are transparent. You do all the things that I really like. So who is this for? Those people might obviously pick up on it, but also, are there a lot of potential drivers who should know anything about this because it might be helpful to them?
Yeah, I mean, we have tools and resources to learn about LLC creation. We have a partner in Locked In, and they provide a lot of resource for that as well. Yeah, I mean, any person who earns their money outside of a traditional W-2 should be an LLC. It protects you on so many different things. Insurance-wise, you're better off. Taxes, especially as like a delivery driver in this world, like now you can write off more of your car payment, your fuel. You stop and get a sandwich in the morning while you're on a delivery. That's a business meal, like, and you can write off half of that sandwich. And it's better that way. At the end of the year, instead of owing taxes, and I'm not an accountant, so please don't take this as tax advice, like non-attorney spokesperson. You can, if you record a loss at the end of the year because you spent more money than to make your money, including paying yourself, like, then you don't have to, you might not have to pay, as much in taxes or taxes at all. So there's a reason that everybody that has money is an LLC, right? Like, or some kind of business. There's just so many advantages to it. It's worth it. So if you're working 2, 3, 4 gig apps, get that money pushed into an LLC, get a Mercury or some other digital bank account, and push those funds in there. And obviously consult your accountant if you have one, or consult an attorney if you want to go that far. But it's something that we love. And for us, like, full transparency, it's better for us. It solidifies that you guys are all independent contractors and that you are businesses that we work with. Every app that a driver uses that isn't Dlivrd proves the model that you're independent contractors and not employees, and gives you that freedom to accept or decline orders and not be burned if you decline them.
I have to say, I'm like, maybe I should do that.
I mean, Kim's Side Money Planners should be an LLC.
I keep like putting it off, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is like my kick in the butt that I need to actually go.
Well, that's why, that's the genius of this. I didn't want to dwell on it too long, but I really liked that they put it in here because, again, I talk about it all the time. You guys are already independent contractors. I mean, look into it. Being an LLC I can't speak for your state, but it can cost less than $100. I mean,
PA, it's $149 filing fee with the Secretary of State, and
exactly.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, if you're multi-apping, and especially if, like, outside of the app-based gig platform world, you're doing other work, you should absolutely be looking into this.
That's where I was going with. I'm like,
But so I haven't even played with that, Chris. Is that helpful in setting it up? Or is it just helpful in integrating your LLC?
We have resources for both. We have resources to help you learn and potentially do it. And then on the every side, there's resources to help you, get that set. And it really works the same, right? We have drivers on the platform that are, LLCs. And instead of like their every account instead of it saying Kim, it would say Kim's, Side Money Hustle LLC, and then bam, like that's just where the payments go. And there's so many advantages to it. I mean, a simple Google, are there advantages to me as an independent contractor having an LLC? And you'll see all kinds of resources and reasons why. It's great.
So would the answer to anybody want to get this one? Would the answer to this one just be Emerald? I mean,
no.
Or can a place actually prefer you, and then do you stand outside of Emerald?
You don't stand outside of Emerald in a sense. It's its own kind of thing. So if a restaurant or even a customer, like the end person who receives the order, is like, hey, I really love Chris Taylor and I want him to do all my deliveries, as long as it gets communicated to us, we have a preferred driver list. So we tell Frederick, hey, Chris Taylor is the preferred driver for the Applebee's on Fake Street. And when an order comes in, as long as the tags match, so like, again, if Chris is driving a Mini Cooper, it's not going to send him that $2,000 order, even if he's the preferred driver. And then same for that customer. If that customer says, hey, I really want this, when a delivery going to 123 Main Street comes in, it's going to get offered, to Chris first, as long as he matches those tags. And then we also have a diverted driver. So there's times where restaurants are like, I didn't like this driver, or the drivers didn't like the restaurant. And it's not something that it's worth like getting booted from the app for, as far as like maybe you cursed out a restaurant or you cursed out one of our call center workers. But it's just a personality disagreement to avoid conflict. And later we may, divert a driver from a pickup or from a delivery location.
So can I just tell Frederick that I want to be the preferred driver?
No, it's gotta be a customer request, and we get them. We get communication from clients all the time that are like, I really want this person, I really want that person, and restaurants love it. They love seeing the same faces come in. They know their brand's getting represented well. The food, so then that all comes with just being a good driver and being polite, mostly.
Mm-hmm. And Jersey is from Jersey, and he's in the lives a lot. He says that he likes the not having to pick up. And on that, I guess I would say this, guys. One thing I do, and I'll take the hit for it in case this is the wrong thing to do. So to both Chris's, if I get into an area that I know, because I know my area well enough where it's going to be one bar, it's going to be a tough tough communication area, I just take the picture with my camera, and then I get back into a zone, just get 2 miles back out into a zone, and I upload the actual picture instead of taking it that I took of the setup, because it works a lot better. It can freeze sometimes if you through the app hit upload.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and
that's
especially if you're in an elevator, like the elevators are the death traps of self-service, and most we're delivering to businesses. You get in there and you can't upload that picture. So the system does tell us if you do it from your phone or from your gallery. It tells us what date and time you took the picture. So like we can tell. We've had drivers go to like Walmart and like search catering and upload pictures of like the catering stuff you can buy from Walmart, or they deliver
No.
a Taco Bell order and they upload a picture from TGI Fridays. So there's definitely some games being played much worse than what you're doing, Steve. So
Okay, because I mean, like,
as long as
Really?
it's the real
I'll
order,
admit,
you're
I do it often because I actually prefer it too. It's easier to close it out once I'm out of there. But yeah, because a lot of hospitals too. It's not just the elevator. It's anywhere in the hospital.
Oh,
One bar is
hospitals are the
very
worst.
Yeah, one bar is very common. And you can sit there, and if you hit add through the app, you could sit there just waiting. So I don't know if maybe the app also, like, I don't know if this is even a thing, but could shrink the size of the file to the like smallest, like pixelated version of the picture that you don't need a high res picture. I'm guessing. I don't know.
it just needs to be something that can identify the food.
I'm sorry,
So,
what, Tim?
I got a couple things. I need to answer a question in the chat, but first I got on the defense of Mini Coopers. I can fit 32 cases of beer in a Mini Cooper. Because I used to pick up beer from the distributor at the last bar I used to run, and they fit. I couldn't do it. The people at the warehouse fit 32 cases of beer in that Mini Cooper. And for Ellen, yes, I do still see $20 offers. In fact, I took one for $24.93 yesterday. It's usually not the first offer I get from Frederick, but if it just $24.93, $20, it all adds up.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If it makes sense, if you're not going to have to drive 40 miles to pick up a $20 offer, if you can just work it into where you're at. Yeah, I did one for basically $25 yesterday.
Yeah. So let's see. Thank you, Ron, for saying that. I think that a lot of people need to hear all this, because also the new app is awesome. If you guys were on Dlivrd a while ago and you've kind of like moved to, we all pivot as we need to the apps, and maybe you got away from it and it was the old app, get back on the new app, because the new app is night and day. And I'm not just saying that because Chris Barnes is on the show tonight. I would have said if it sucked too. So.
And you have to by tomorrow. So like the old app will no longer function. What to tomorrow, Barnes? All the markets are off.
Oh, okay.
So if you're not on the new app, you're not going to get any orders. So make sure you get into the new app for tomorrow, or like, especially if you've accepted an order today, make sure you have the new app for tomorrow. Otherwise, you won't be able to sign into your account on the old app.
So Chris Taylor here. Question: when Dlivrd sends overlapping orders and I decline, does it hurt my rating?
No, we talked about that. Declining is fine. It's just if you don't accept that response, that lack of responsiveness. And typically, if we're sending something overlapping, Frederick, by inherent design, will not overlap orders. So that's a human evaluating the order, saying like, all right, you're close enough to this pickup, or you're delivering close enough to the pickup to snag both of those. And typically in a situation like that, if we're manually assigning you that order, if you're late to one of them or whatever, then we kind of back that out of the equation, because you're probably taking that order that someone bailed on under an hour, because of whatever reason.
So Capital 1212. I'm not sure where you're from, but Dlivrd is the best player in the game. Proud to be part of it. So glad to have you in here.
Do you guys have any like future plans that you can share that might be in the works, or is it just like all top secret?
I mean,
that means they do. That means they
do. They're just not going to say it.
Well, and it's funny because like I just hate committing to things when we don't have like set timelines, right? There's nothing worse than saying like this is coming, right? No, we have a lot of things in the pipeline. We have new app updates that are set to come out soon that'll have bigger and better features to help us, to help us work better with the drivers. we're working on things to make pay even faster, and get the money for your deliveries in your metaphorical pockets, quicker and better. We're working on enhancements to our chat system so you can get support to quicker and better. So there's so many things coming that we're pushing to get stuff done by the end of the year. But for us, it's hard right now because the end of the year is our busy time. Like we pushed something out yesterday and it broke something, and some Android users couldn't use the app. So we try not to make too many changes this time of year because we don't want to mess things up too bad in our busy quarter. But there's some really, really cool stuff coming, and we probably are adding. I can't even say on an average, but we're adding new clients literally every day in different markets for different things. And catering is the new hot buzzword, right? In restaurants, it's a way to get them more money before they even open the door. So a lot of restaurants are adopting it. Return to work is huge. So offices are ordering and reordering in high volume. So it's just going to keep trending up from here.
Yeah,
So,
it's about like so one thing with Chris real quick, like we're kind of laughing because we were talking about things we want to do a year from now, and that's where it's almost like where do we begin? But some really short, like we're gonna have dark mode in the app. Again, I'm like Chris, I don't want to overpromise, but I'd say by the end of next week. I mean, Tim already has it on his test app that he's using for us.
yeah, and actually, that was just asked, in fact.
Yeah, I see a lot of people like it's so fun. I mean, dark
Yeah.
mode is so popular.
And
So
I
that'll
heard
be-
people talking trash
I don't
on
know
the
if you can
green.
see it.
I love the green.
Dark mode.
the dark mode. I'm pretty confident you all will have that a week from today. We already mentioned some other ones that are coming soon that I'm confident enough to say at least in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The ability to release an order that you've already accepted as long as there's still like enough time for us. That'd probably be about a 4-hour gap. And you would be able to do that from the app. The ability to confirm the order in the app, so you don't have to wait for the text and have the stress of, I only have enough time to confirm that text message. If for whatever reason you missed that text message to confirm it, you'd be able to reclaim the order right from the app as well. So those are just some that, like, again, I think realistically the goal for each one of those I said is to be out by the end of the month.
So if you reclaim an order, does it still like count against you for missing the order?
This would be a scenario. No, in that this would be a scenario where like you missed the confirmation, it just got taken from you, no other drivers accepted it, and you'd be claiming it back. So this is something that probably is
It
like
comes in the text and it says, "Do you want this?" Yeah, I've seen that too. Where do you want this to come back?
No. This is like if you the other thing, like if you don't miss the confirmation text, and then
Right.
or you don't swipe start, we suck the order back, and then you can get it back without having to chat in or call into our support team. And no, it wouldn't count as like a bailed order or a missed order. You do get kind of like a ding for not using the app right, but I mean that's like such a low priority thing. I see. Okay.
I was gonna say I want to bring this back because I actually kind of agree with this. I mean, I know where the earnings are, but trying to find like your actual week earnings, that's a little tricky, and you have to go into, the calendar and then change your week. So I actually kind of agree with this.
100%. And the one thing that we want to make sure we display right is people's money, right? So this is something we had, and we had it very comparable to the old app. It was just it was giving random issues, and we thought it would be better to release with what is in there now than releasing something that could potentially show you something wrong. So there will be enhancements to earnings and how you can see it, and how you can even interact with your earnings in future updates. So it's something that's definitely there. But the biggest thing that we take seriously is like displaying your earnings, displaying your money, and making sure that it's accurate, because we don't want to play that game.
You guys, we're running a little over time, but I'm gonna get a last couple ones in here to these guys because they've been very good with their time for us. This I've actually heard from some other people too. Why are some orders split? And these are usually larger ones when the vehicle can handle it.
It's the client's request. At the end of the day, the client is kind of in
okay.
charge. So if they want 2 cars, they get 2 cars. For us, we don't get paid more, really. We make the same amount whether there's 1 driver or 2 drivers for the most part. But now we have double the API calls, double the payment fees. double the insurance exposure. So we don't necessarily want them split either. But the customer wants what the customer wants, and sometimes.
But it's also a nice safety net on a big order too, because if both vehicles can fit it, and if one doesn't show, even if they requested two, it's still better that it show up in one.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like you could probably fit it in there, but like, are you jamming stuff and crushing it? Is the dressing gonna break and get all over the bread? You know, so at the end of the day, it's still a solid typically, if it's a big order, it's a good earning. So if you don't want to split it with another driver, send the order back. But at the end of the day, you're the one losing out on that higher than average earning, most likely.
Okay. Thank you, Mad Dasher, for the memberships. Appreciate that.
I did
Tim,
run into a particular split order that it was. I was told the customer wanted 2 drivers. It was not the customer. It was Easy Cater. The customer didn't care if 10 drivers or 1 driver brought it as long as it was there on time. And it was to Amazon, and I deal with them, and the merchant requested me to do the order by myself, and I still had to split it. And then Easy Cater kept telling me to contact Dlivrd. So then I was doing that, so it all blew up. I split the order; it's all done. But it was not the customer, though. It did end up being Easy Cater that requested.
Yeah, when I say client, the client is the person who gives us the order, not the customer. And it too, like when you look at like a brand like that, the person that you delivered that order to is probably not the person who ordered it. And then, you know, a lot of brands have like their set standards that just get sent. So like Amazon might say over $2,000, always send 2 drivers. And it does, like, that's just their business rules.
You know, I'm looking at, I don't know where it is in here. I lost track. Oh, right here, merchandise thoughts. But I'm going to give you guys like a shout out real quick on like your own merchandise store. I see a lot of people asking questions about bags and how many bags I need. I guess I was looking to update my bags because some of them get gross after a while. And I went and I'm like, okay, I'll just order more from Dlivrd. And you can get like 4 bags for $25. So if you guys are like, if you're looking, I know. So if you're looking for a way of getting a good quantity and free shipping, a quantity of bags, like to me, that's a really good deal. So shout out to merchandising.
Yeah, and we have some new stuff coming soon with like a new store that'll have like different shirts and swag and cups and, you know, different things that if you want to, you know, you want to rep the brand, you can. We'll have city specific shirts. So like if you're in Denver, there's going to be a Denver Dlivrd shirt. If you're, you know, and you're in Philly, there will be a Philly, you know, specific shirt. So we have that coming probably, I'll say like sometime in the first quarter of next year, ideally. But yeah, bags aren't a profit center for us. We buy so many at once that we get a really, really good deal on them. And basically what it costs for us to put them in a box, ship them to you is what that cost is. So we don't need to make money on that. We're making money on deliveries. So
can I get a Jersey Girl Dlivrd shirt? I'm just kidding.
I do get a lot of people asking me about the catering bags. If you guys could ever get basically your basic bag, the one 4 for $25, but with Velcro instead of zippers.
Yeah, I see that right here. Jersey's wanting that. He's saying that we want the blue
it is in the chat.
You're talking to the wrong company if you want blue delivery bags.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the wrong company.
No, not blue. No, just Velcro. Just Velcro.
Oh, it looks like, thank you, Bordor. It looks like she put the link in there for the catering bags. Remember, guys,
I even have a green wagon.
And you do get a package from Dlivrd too.
Yeah.
That will up your game a bit.
Will there be a New Jersey town hall anytime soon?
I don't know. I mean, that's marketing department. I don't really touch that, but I know we're going to do something in like New York, I think, coming up sometime in the beginning of the year. So right north of Jersey, but just the easiest way there is like keep an eye out on like the emails and the social media and soon push notifications. So we can, you know, let you know when we're doing different experiences in your market. You know, we're also trying to expand that and try and connect with drivers in different ways than just sending orders and being a way to make money. We want to actually like, you know, connect and learn about feedback and all that fun stuff and do it in a different way than through text or through email.
Yeah, I think everybody just had fun. I know a couple of people who went to the Dave & Buster's when you guys were in New Jersey. What was it, last year? And they just had tons of fun. So I get questions about that a lot.
So to Chris Barnes, as we wind this up, I got a question. If you could give the masses like one FAQ answer to a very common question, what would it be so that it takes a little headache off you?
God, that's a good one. I mean, I hate to say it, but the number one FAQ question that we get is like, "What's my username?" And so, if you're having that question,
you'll know your username.
Yeah, know your username. I mean, that is the big one. But I mean, I guess like the general like FAQ question is like, is this it? Like, is this app in the final form? And the answer is no, like far from it. Like we have intentions to improve every piece of it. And then I think, the other like general question that we always get is that we want more orders, and something that you all don't really see firsthand. But as much time as we've spent into this app, we're spending a lot of time on our direct client technology as well. We need to have a really slick platform that makes it super easy for a restaurant to send us orders, have visibility in their orders, tracking the earnings. And sometimes that's not fun for the drivers. That's not sexy stuff. That's not a new app, but that is so important for us to get more orders for everybody. A big focus for us is to find breakfast orders, dinner orders. Not every order can be due at noon. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess the vague question I have is how do we get more orders? And we're really going out there to try to get more and more direct clients.
And then, so same kind of thing to you, Chris, like Chris Heffernan. If you were approached by, you're doing a Dlivrd event, and as you're walking out, you think you've done your whole day, and you're approached by 10 people who have just onboarded, and they haven't even got their first order yet, and they're just, what? Hey, and I want more, and I'm going to be here, and what do I do? And like, what's the calming effect, and what are your words of wisdom about chill, wait? You have to work for it a bit, but
Yeah, I mean, it's the age-old saying: anything worth getting is worth waiting, or whatever, something like that. I guess it's not that great of a saying if I can't remember it. But at the end of the day, yeah, like I said earlier, like we're not just going to hand a $2,000 order over to a brand new driver on the platform. Like we need to work together and do it. And there might be an app that you can go and get on the platform and get a big order right away, and awesome, right? But we're working on building an extraordinary service for our clients and an extraordinary platform for our drivers. And with that, it takes time. And you'll appreciate how the orders are dispersed the longer you're on the platform and the more orders you take, because we have that loyalty to the drivers that have done it. So does it suck being on the wait list? Yes. Does it suck being a new driver sometimes? Yeah. But you got to put the dues in and take the orders, just like Tim did, right? Just like you're doing now, Steve. And you'll see the offers get better, and you'll see that we're putting a lot into the technology. So I'm a Philadelphia guy, and we have the Sixers, and they have trust the process, right? So TTP. So I guess my words of wisdom would be trust the process. If it didn't work, Tim wouldn't be an Emerald driver and talking with me on this roundtable, right? Like we would just churn out drivers and they'd be on the platform for a month or two and then go. But we're working to build a reputable business, and we need to make sure we have reputable partners. So TTP.
And we know it took a lot for Tim to jump ships because he's a big DoorDash lover. So,
oh God,
Tim might be
my favorite.
The biggest DoorDash hater I've ever met, which is, I love it.
I'm lobbying to get that $32.50 an hour active, whatever you call it on DoorDash. The earn by time, I pay $32.50 an hour.
Yeah. So guys, I really appreciate it. Any final words from either of you guys? Or I think we covered a lot. The one thing that, guys, we didn't get into is the Emerald, and I didn't want to really hit on that because we've talked about it before. And like, there's an app, you can go into the driver portal and see like questions, videos, things of that nature on what it takes. Cause it's like a math formula. You're going to have to read some things to actually understand how it works, and what it'll take to get there. But I looked at it. It's it does describe it. It says what you're going to need to do. So it says how it's determined. So just get in there and like Kim's doing, just hustle, just take them all.
The one thing I say, and talking about
orders.
The one thing I always I get a lot of questions from new drivers on Dlivrd and, just drivers in general. The more you work it, the better the app becomes and the more that it produces for you as a driver. So take order. The only thing I can say, and I feel like that's like a lot on a lot of apps, but take orders and make it work for you, and that's the key to success.
It looks like Adam Brown kind of agreed with you, Chris, in another way.
Well, yeah, he agreed with the statement being a statement, but yeah, I mean, we'll see if it worked this year. Likely not, but fingers crossed.
I can
Chris
say on your
Barnes,
journey
It was a horrible, horrible thing.
any final words from you? New drivers on the wait list. I've said this for years. Patience, guys. Again, Chris has said it 3 times on this podcast alone. Chris Heffernan has that. When you get off it, you'll be glad it's there. When you're on it, it sucks. We all get it. We all get it.
Yeah, and I mean,
the part about when you're off it and it's there is huge when you're off it, because it's what allows good offers to come. If you just open the gates, the good offers go away. And like they said, also, the other thing is there's driver retention. We don't see that on a lot of apps. So people love the app. So, I mean, you're not going to get a bunch of people jumping ship. So you're going to have to wait. But also, as they grow a market, even a big market, and you might think, well, I'm in a big city. Well, how far back am I? As they get another client, that opens up the opportunity for more drivers. So I don't know if there's anything that down the road, maybe something they're looking at, that maybe us drivers could have the ability to pitch sales.
Yeah. For me,
I'm all the time in B2B places that are warehouses picking up curries when I'm not doing delivered stuff, that I could be giving out, first time discount cards to or something, because they can't get out of there often, and it's a whole warehouse full of people. So,
separate conversation, but there's no such thing as a stupid question, right? So if a driver has a question, they go home tonight and say, oh my God, I should have asked this during the chat or whatever, how would they contact Dlivrd?
I mean, it depends. If it's like an imperative question or something about an order, they can text into the support line and someone will get back to them within a reasonable amount of time. There's the hello or drive at dlivrd.io. They could shoot something there. But for the most part, if they go into the driver portal, there is likely an answer to their question in that FAQ. They can self-service it. So, a couple options there.
So Chris Barnes, any final words? I forget if we got you cut off there or not, or did we cover everything? Is there something we didn't hit on that we should?
I think we covered a lot. I mean, I think that I just like to say again that, we're very humbled to have so many drivers that even want to be on our platform, and humbled to have a driver app and to get so much feedback. I think that something we get held accountable by our drivers in terms of the expectations, as they should. But Chris started this company unfunded, and everything that he earns, he puts back into the company to just try to make it better and better. So I think we're just both really humbled to be where we are, and really appreciative. And I know it can be tough for a driver sometimes, especially like Chris mentioned, there was an Android outage yesterday. I'm sure if you were calling us, everybody in the world was calling us at the same time, and you feel like we don't care, or you feel like, you're not getting what you deserve. We know we're not perfect, but we do care, and we want to be there for you, and we want to just keep improving.
Awesome. I mean, I think you guys will just keep growing. I think that, we know that if you work the food delivery platforms, they fluctuate. Some markets do okay. Kim's does pretty well, but for the most part, we've hit that ceiling. But I was even saying, like what I was saying about $46 offers, it's not like I just saw one. I've seen a couple under 70 on Dlivrd, and that's telling me a lot. That's telling me that people are going to Easy Cater or things like that and ordering their lunch for 2 people on there instead of using DoorDash or Uber Eats, which is awesome. If Easy Cater can handle it, great. So
I ran into a customer, Steve, that said it's on their back end, it's easier to order everything from one through one company, like Easy Cater. So sometimes they
Mhm.
may have a big $700 order. That particular delivery was 2 large Papa John's pizzas. That was $39.99, 98 cents food total. That's why I asked her, do you know a trick that I know to get cheaper Papa John's delivered? No, it's not cheaper, but it's easier for
So-
the book work.
Before I sign us off here, Tim, I forgot to follow up with you. When you did the order, I forgot to even ask this. When you did the Easy Cater order, where it was supposed to be 2 drivers, it was just one. They were happy to have it just be you. Did you approach them and say, hey, make me your preferred driver?
No, well, no, the merchant, I was there 4 days earlier doing an order. He asked if I was delivering the one on Friday. I said, I have no idea. I didn't know anything about it. I'm like, you can call and ask if I can deliver it. I'd like to do it. I can do it by myself. Hell, I got 20 of the 26 bags already in my van for this order because the other driver wasn't there yet. But the owner just kept bringing out bags. I'm like, oh, there's another driver coming. They need to take half of this, and now they're only taking 6 of the 26 bags. So they
Right, but I'm saying,
apparently
like,
put in the
even if that
request.
did end up going that way, and he was like, well, that's not needed. Isn't that a time, the Chris's can correct me here, but isn't that a time he could have approached them and said, make me preferred? Or would that still not trump the coming in of an Easy Cater order requesting 2 cars?
Wherever,
Right,
I mean, the customer would
I
send
was
it
just going.
to Easy and then Easy to us. But yeah, if he gets asked to be that preferred driver, he would get offered orders from that place. Maybe not the next
Yeah,
giant
they
one.
sent it to me. Yeah, it was
We'll
originally
we'll
I was
put
the
up
only
this
driver.
comment. I think that's a great ending comment because Kim and I always have a sign off. Kim has a sign off she's used for a long time. That's her merchandise says kindness is always free. And Thomas is always he's at all these round tables. So thank you, Thomas, too. But that's a wrap for the week, folks. Hope you guys got something major out of this. Again, Dlivrd, DLIVRD.io for those of you listening on the audio podcast side. Most likely you'll be in a waiting list, but maybe not. Maybe they'll go quick. Let's give major props to both Chris's from Dlivrd for joining us tonight. Not just the golf clap, but the real clap. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight, or on the replay, or on the audio podcast. And until next Thursday, be safe, earn smart, and Kim,
Kindness is always free.
kindness is always free. Thank you, guys.
She was slapping